Good morning. So today my topic is tongue. Today we'll be discussing general or gross anatomy of it. So what do we observe when we first see tongue? Present floor of mouth, shape, conical, and it's a muscular organ. Now these are the three things that we first observe when we see a tongue in someone's mouth or in our cadavers. But what is its function? It has 4 to 5 main functions. In first one being taste, second is speech, third is helping in chewing, so we'll write only chewing. Fourth, deglutition, which is very much an important topic in physiology, so we'll discuss that too. So it's deglutition. Fifth one, cleansing of mouth. So what are the parts of tongue? Next is parts. It has a root, a tip, a body. Body is divided into two parts. One is upper surface or dorsum, and the second one is the inferior surface or ventral surface. Okay, then it has a base. Next, we move on to muscles. As it is a muscular organ, it is bound to have muscles in it. It has a total of 8 muscles and it is divided into two groups, like extrinsic and intrinsic. So what are the group of muscles that these two are what are the movements or motions these two are responsible for? So extrinsic muscles are responsible for movement of tongue, and the intrinsic one is shape. So now when I say there are 8 muscles, I only meant half of the tongue, because as we do in rest of the anatomy that we study half of the body and it's the same on the other side. So what are the muscles? Both these groups have 4 each. Okay, so what are the name of the muscles? Extrinsic muscles are genoglossus, hypoglossus, styloglossus, and palatoglossus. Sorry, instead of palato, I made it patelo. Palatoglossus. In the intrinsic one group, we have superior and inferior longitudinal muscles. Longitudinal muscles. Okay, so these are 1 and 2. Third one is vertical, and the fourth one is transverse. Okay, so now moving on to the lymphatic drainage. If you're thinking, why haven't I discussed the diagrams for muscle attachments, it's because we'll be discussing all the diagrams of lymphatic drainage, muscle attachment and gauze that should be drawn after we have covered this topic and arterial supply. So lymphatic drainage, tip of the tongue, it is drained by submental nodes. Then we have the remaining parts, it is right and left parts of anterior two-third remaining. So this portion is drained by submandibular nodes. And then we have posterior most and posterior one-third. Posterior most PM and posterior one-third. This region gets drained by jugulodigastric. Jugulo, G-U-L-O, digastric. Now there is one thing that we all should know, that submental, submandibular, jugulodigastric, they all drain into jugulo-omohyoid. Jugulo-omohyoid nodes. Okay, so all the lymph get extracted and it empties here. Jugulo-omohyoid. Then if we move on to arterial supply. Now there are 4 main arteries that supply our tongue. First one being deep lingual. Second, dorsal lingual. Third, tonsillar branch of facial. And the fourth one is ascending pharyngeal of external carotid artery. So external carotid artery. Okay, so these are the 4 main arteries that supply our tongue. I have already done a video or 2 videos on nerve supply, that is motor supply and sensory supply separately of tongue, so watch them as well. Now moving on to our diagrams. So the diagram for gross that should be drawn after writing gross anatomy of tongue is something like this. Sorry, I should have drawn it with black. It'd be easier for me. Okay, then this became a uvula, some ugly teeth, on down as well. Okay, and this is our tongue. Okay, now we do have tonsils as well, so we'll draw two tonsils, one on both sides. So now one thing that is to be shown in this diagram is tonsil, tongue, shade it. Then this is our palatopharyngeal arch. Palatopharyngeal arch. Okay, and this is our palatoglossal arch. Okay, so these are the four main things that are to be shown in this diagram. Now moving on to dorsum of tongue. Now you can draw this diagram for your uh, showing your papillas or papillae that are there on the tongue, your differentiation of different parts like posterior, most posterior, one third, and anterior two third, and as well as your to demarcate which part is being drained, lymph of which part is being drained by which node. Okay, so you can draw this as well. Okay, so as you saw, draw a simple tongue, divide, now then make two big bunny ears and make them wear a cap. So now, so as you can see, I have added few more features in this area and two tonsils. So now what is what? Let's start labeling this diagram of dorsum of tongue. This is our epiglottis. Epiglottis. Then we have this median epiglottic fold. Median epiglottic fold. Okay, and then we have vacuolas. These two bunny ears that we have made, these are known as Blackula. Now, how do we spell it? It is very easy. Blackula. Okay. Then we move down, and the first thing we see here is this. This is foramen cecum. Foramen cascum, sorry. I always say cecum and then I goof it up. This is tonsil, as we know. This part is not visible to you. Okay, I went right there. Okay, so now what have I drawn? These little structures, these circles. These are our papillas. These are circumvallate papilla. Circumvallate. Circumvallate. These horn type are foliate papillas, which are rudimentary in humans. Then this is your filiform, most numerous, and on the tip of the tongue we have is fungiform. Okay, this is our tip of tongue. Now what else we can show from this diagram is, like, now I'll be rubbing all this so that I can do other markings. This is our posterior most part, PM. This region from here, this is posterior 1/3, and this region is anterior 2/3. Okay, so this can also be shown in this diagram. Now, as far as I said, for showing our lymphatic drainage, we can also use this similar diagram. So I'll just rub these again. This region, then we can show a few here in this region. I'm only drawing in half of the tongue, but they're also on the other half. We'll be considering only half of the tongue on the tip. Okay, so the upper, uh, this one is your or our upper deep cervical lymph. Upper deep cervical. Cervical lymph nodes. Okay, then these are submandibular, and these are submental. Okay, so now we have all three of these, so we know that these three would finally drain in one place, that is our jugulo-omohyoid. So this is our lymphatic drainage diagram as well. So we have done our papillae diagram, our dorsum of tongue diagram for gross as well as for showing other features, our demarcation of different parts of tongue, and a lymph in this one diagram. But draw these three diagrams, don't try to show it in one or you won't get any marks because it will be too crammed up. Now for muscles, I don't have that many colored markers, so I'll be using paper and some sketch pens. So let's draw our tongue. So now we'll be discussing intrinsic muscles first, and then we'll be going for extrinsic muscles. So for showing intrinsic muscles, if this is our tongue, we have taken this section and we have just like it's like this, and then we have magnified it like this. Okay, if it is a section, I'll cut it like this and I'll show it to you like this. So it would come out to be somewhat like this shape of our tongue. Okay, now this is our median furrow. So now what muscles do we observe over here? Like what are the muscles of our upper uh, internal intrinsic muscles group? Now we have vertical muscle and a transverse muscle. So transverse muscle is something, as the name suggests, transverse. I think it is visible. Wait a minute. Yes, it's visible. The camera. This is a transverse. Transverse. Okay. Then we have a vertical muscle, as the name says, vertical. Then in this particular diagram we can show genoglossus as well. So this is our genoglossus. And superior and inferior longitudinal. So superior and inferior longitudinal. Longitudinal. Okay. So this is our intrinsic muscles. So now what else do we have? Extrinsic muscles. So we'll be put on another page. For making extrinsic muscles, you should be very much careful where you are making your or how you are making a diagram, because if you don't place things rightly, you won't be able to attach the muscles in your diagram. We know this is our tongue. In front of our tongue we have a teeth, so let's make an incisor embedded in our jaw. Okay, below our tongue we have hyoid bone, and behind our tongue we have uh, style styloid process. Above it we have palate. Okay, so now let's attach our muscles. First muscle being palatoglossus, name suggests from palate to tongue, so palatoglossus. This is our palatoglossus. Okay. Second muscle is styloglossus. Styloglossus originates from styloid process as well as stylohyoid ligament. So first let's draw our ligament and then our muscle. It is a long conical shape muscle, usually shown like that. Styloglossus. Okay, please don't mind that. Then the next muscle that we have is hyoglossus, from hyoid bone to tongue. Okay, then lastly genoglossus. Now why did I say we have to make an incisor? Because our genicular eminence is here only. Okay, so from there the muscle is attached to both the tongue and the hyoid bone. So it's like make this and this. This is our genioglossus. Okay, so palate, styloid process, hyoid bone, and teeth in jaw. Okay, so these are our extrinsic muscles. Extrinsic. Okay, now there is no such diagram for your arterial supply or venous drainage. For that, what I suggest that you do is just draw ventral surface of your tongue, show your divisions, and then show an artery, then you have your vein. Okay, so make sure I don't have a red marker. I would have shown you that this is your vein and this is your artery, vein. Okay, so this is a simple basic diagram. Just draw this, draw your artery with a red pen or red marker or red color, and that would be up. That would be all. But just the thing that you need to keep in mind is, don't do it like I did. Draw your diagrams after you have written about that specific part or that specific topic, because it's easier for the examiner to understand that yes, you know about it and you know the placements of the things. Thank you very much. Like the video, share, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully this topic is clear to you now, or you can just repeat this whole process of watching this video. Thank you.